Family tragedy on Black Hollow Road. Investigators report an apparent gas leak at the Whitmore estate has claimed 4 lives. 1 child survives. The Whitmore family had always been a strange fixture in Pinefield, Pennsylvania. They lived in a mansion that seemed too grand for such a modest town. Stone columns, antique windows, and a wrought iron gate wrapped in thorny vines. Harold Whitmore, the patriarch, was a reclusive historian. His wife Margaret ran the local literacy foundation. Their 3 children, Caleb, Ezra, and Lillian, were rarely seen outside the property. The family kept to themselves, save for Sunday services and occasional donations to the local orphanage. Locals called their home the museum because it looked more like a mausoleum than a house. And after that night in 1979, the name felt more appropriate than ever. Caleb was found alone, his feet bruised and bleeding. He didn't cry. He didn't ask for help. He just repeated the same eerie rhyme. In the cradle, in the dark, hide the key and snuff the spark. He was taken into state custody. When questioned, he couldn't or wouldn't explain what happened. But the official story never sat right with Pinefield's townsfolk. There had been no gas odor, no alarms. The fire. Marshall later confessed off the record, it wasn't a gas leak. But I wasn't going to be the one to call it murder. Interview. Abigail Moore, family friend. Margaret used to bring the children into town in spring, always in matching clothes. They never spoke unless spoken to. It was eerie. Like little ghosts in pastel. One teacher at the local Sunday school described Ezra as too smart for his age and obsessed with death rituals. A church volunteer recalled Lillian crying during every sermon. God doesn't listen here, only the ones in the floor do. By the end of 1979, the Whitmore mansion was declared unsafe. It was boarded up and left untouched for nearly 2 decades. In 1998, nearly 2 decades after the fire, the Whitmore mansion was purchased by a local developer hoping to turn it into a bed and breakfast. But 3 weeks into renovations, the crew stopped work indefinitely. It was the basement. We didn't expect a basement that deep, like a whole second house underneath, with bookshelves, locked doors, and something that smelled like old earth and rust. Workers discovered hundreds of journals, strange tapes, and handwritten blueprints for the house. But the most chilling find was a sealed room lined with chalk marks and childlike drawings on every wall. Inside that room, they found a single wooden chair and a name carved into the floorboards, EZRA. Shortly after, Lena Torres reached out to a retired detective who had worked the original case, Detective Marcus Bell. I always knew there was something else going on. The family had money, old money, the kind that makes evidence disappear. But I saw the coroner's report. That boy, Ezra, he didn't die in a fire. He was drowned in salt water, in the middle of a house with no plumbing in that room. More unsettling were the journals written by Harold Whitmore. The children know more than they should. Ezra keeps asking about the voices beneath the floor. Lillian won't sleep in her bed anymore. And Caleb has started drawing the symbol again, the one I burned years ago. The symbol, a twisted Ouroboros biting its tail twice, was found in several places throughout the house, above doorways, scratched into tabletops, even stitched into a child's blanket. A folklore professor at nearby Millbury College confirmed it was linked to a forgotten sect of 18th century esoteric scholars, rumored to believe in sacrifices of memory, that trauma could anchor the soul to a physical place. This symbol predates known Christian mysticism in the region. Its reappearance suggests an ongoing ritualistic tradition likely inherited, not revived. As Lena dug deeper, she began experiencing night terrors. Her crew members reported waking to the sound of children crying. One man quit after seeing what he called a shadow boy in the library mirror. One final entry in Harold's journal stood out above all. Caleb must choose tonight. The cradle waits. Ezra refuses, and Lillian is too fragile. It must be him. The youngest always sees the clearest. We must give the house what it wants. In 2002, after years of silence, Caleb Whitmore returned to Pinefield. He had changed his name and lived most of his adult life in upstate New York, but he was drawn back by a letter unsigned, postmarked from Millbury, and containing only one sentence: "You left the cradle open. Come back before the dark takes." Root, they remember. They always do. Caleb agreed to speak to a local journalist, Aaron Walsh, whose mother had taught at the orphanage Margaret Whitmore supported. He didn't remember everything, but he said the house held things that don't die the way people do. He remembered sitting in that chair in the sealed room. He remembered Ezra screaming. And most of all, he remembered his mother whispering, "Don't let the spark go out." Later that year, Caleb returned to the estate alone. He left a recorder running. "If anyone finds this, don't follow. The walls lie. The light will betray you. Ezra, I remember now. I remember you didn't want to do it. That they made you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Faint rustling. A sound like footsteps. The cradle's moving again. End of tape. His body was never found. Only the recorder and the porcelain doll, now missing an eye. Local man presumed missing. At Whitmore Estate, police found signs of disturbance but no evidence of foul play. The investigation is ongoing. Room where man vanished smelled of brine and mildew. One small handprint found in dust on mirror, too small to be his. In 2006, the Whitmore journals were digitized by Millbury College and quietly uploaded to a restricted academic archive. Among the scanned pages was a final entry by Margaret Whitmore, never previously seen by investigators. Caleb was always the key. Harold said the youngest would be the light. But I feared what the house would do to him. I begged Harold to stop. When Ezra drowned, I knew we had gone too far. I let Caleb go. I told him to run. I prayed the house would forget. But houses don't forget. They remember every footstep, every scream. Especially the ones too soft to hear. The Whitmore Estate remains unsold. No buyers. No renovations. Just the whisper of a child's rhyme when the wind moves the thorns. In the cradle, in the dark, hide the key and snuff the spark.